I severely regret my decisions. I have never played any of the Resident Evil games, so randomly, due in part to Wesker's addition to Dead by Daylight and the Humble Bundle release that had every game, minus Village, for only $30, I decide I would attempt to play every Resident Evil game for the first time in chronological order, starting from 0 and ending with 8-inch. So I've decided to cut it down and make a video on each game in the series individually, and then make one big supercut at the end. This way you guys actually get content, and I get the satisfaction of uploading for once. So it's a win-win. I would like to mention briefly, before we actually get into the full video, that I've recently added memberships to my channel. Well, what does this mean for you, you ask? Well, it's a way for you to support me in the content I create on a monthly basis for some rewards. For $5, you get an exclusive shoutout at the end of all my videos, priority comment replies, and an exclusive Discord role and chat, which you can use to speak with me directly. For $10, I'll add you on Discord and follow you on Twitter if you want to put that on your resume. And finally, for $20, if you're a madman, or woman, I will make a video you suggest, with some strings attached. So yeah, if you want to help support me in what I do, that's the best way to do it, and every little bit helps. So thanks for listening, and let's get back to the video. So let's talk about my experience with the Resident Evil franchise previously, before all of this. I've known about the Resident Evil franchise for quite some time, although at first I thought it was the game in the arcades where you're going through a mansion shooting zombies with those rubber guns. But later on, during all the buzz about Resident Evil Village coming out, I ended up watching some gameplay of the game. And I've completely forgotten all of it by now, but I did show some interest. But mostly all of the info I've gathered about the series has been from random reviews or news or things from my friend Lucas's mouth. For example, I specifically remember hearing that RE3 was really shit and not worth the money from some reviewers. I've also played Dead by Daylight, which if you didn't know has had multiple crossovers with Resident Evil in the past, so I knew of Nemesis, Jill, Leon, Chris, Claire, Ada, Rebecca, Sheva, Carlos, Wesker, not much more than what they looked like and their names, but still. Well, except for Wesker. I had seen a lot of Wesker memes. I didn't understand them fully, but that's beside the point. Borderline is, I didn't know much about the series or what I was getting into. And so it was quite the wild ride, let me say. So now let me explain the formatting for each video. For each of these videos, the formatting will be almost the exact same. I will start off by explaining my experience through the game. This includes the story, from how I understood it, the gameplay, and my thoughts on it, and just general things I feel like talking about that I experienced throughout the game. Then, at the end, I will have a big old list of rewards and other goodies to give out and rank. This includes a Resident Evil bingo board, which is filled to the brim with basic Resident Evil tropes, and I'm doing this because I'm very curious to see how similar all of these boards will look at the very end. I'm going to also do a reward ceremony where I give each game rewards in 6 different categories, this including Best Written Dialogue, Worst Boss, Badass Moment, Worst Puzzle, Best Boss, and Best Theme. Finally, throughout the playthrough I'll be updating 2 tier lists, 1 of every Resident Evil character, and 2 of every game themselves. And with all that said and done, let's begin by recapping my experience with Resident Evil 0. The game begins with probably the most confusing intro into any game franchise ever. People are on a train, just enjoying their day, minding their own business, when out of nowhere, on a mountainside nearby, Leech Jesus summons up his leech army and starts singing like a choir boy as his flesh tadpoles proceed to infect every passenger on the train with what can be best described as evil. We are then taken away from that and taken to a squadron of soldiers, and one obvious main character, who are flying towards the train in a helicopter because they got a call about like a bear in the woods or something. I don't fucking know. Anyways, the helicopter fucking explodes because the wind or something. I shit you not, the engine just blows up. No third party involved or anything. When they land, and all miraculously survive, they find a destroyed car that was transporting a criminal to be executed by the name of Billy Cohen. Wow, I'm sure that's not important. Anyways, they split up, and our obvious main protagonist is revealed to be Rebecca Chambers, and if you couldn't tell, she's a medic. She enters the mysterious abandoned train, and then is immediately infected, not with the zombie leech virus, no, infected with the plague of fixed camera angles and probably the worst gunplay I've seen in a video game.
Right bumper is to aim, A is to shoot.
This is fucking horrific.
It's locked.
The fucking transitions make me want to die.
It makes me, the player, want to fucking die. Rebecca then notices that this isn't no normal train. It's filled to the brim with some pretty evil residents, and it's up to Rebecca to take care of them. Or maybe one of them with 2 full mags of pistol ammo. Because this is also where you're first introduced to the fact that Resident Evil zombies are not like your normal zombies of old. No, this ain't no punk-ass COD zombies. This ain't no Walking Dead zombies, not that you could shoot them in the head if you tried. These are evil fucking residents, baby, and their goal is to make sure that you will never have any ammo. I think I got him. Oh shit, no! This gameplay is awesome. This introduces us to our second awesome Resident Evil mechanic, inventory management, which then introduces us to our third Resident Evil mechanic, looting. And so with these 3 mechanics, we have now crafted the Resident Evil cycle. Shoot zombie with ammo you have, run out of ammo killing 1 zombie, go loot for items and get a full inventory so you can't carry anymore, run into zombie and lose all ammo. And I know what you're thinking. Well, surely the game would be optimized well enough to at least give you enough ammo to get past mandatory things like bosses, right? Right? Anyway, you are then given 0 direction of where to go and have 0 goals. You are now just on a train with a gun and zombies. What could go wrong, you know? So I started wandering around this train, walked into a couple rooms, one in particular with some different sounding music. Now, to anyone who has played a Resident Evil game, well, besides these ones, you will recognize this room as a save room. A room where, believe it or not, you are supposed to save your game, using this funky typewriter on the table. Now, you have to understand, this is never explained to the player, ever. On top of this, there are these items called ink ribbons, which are required in tangent with the typewriter in order to save your game. Which means, 2 things. 1, there are a limited number of saves, and 2, that they take up an entire inventory slot. So not only is 1 inventory slot occupied by your gun, and 1 by your extra ammo for said gun, but now another is occupied by the literal ability to save your game. Already having your inventory space. Also, you have to remember this game was made in 2002, so all quality of life things in video games that you adore and take for granted, such as this little thing called auto-saving, this game never has. This game never auto-saves. Every save must be done through the typewriter. To put this into perspective, if you never save the game manually with the typewriter and get to the final boss and die, you will have to restart the entire game. Now, I'm sure some of you will say, well, damn right, those gamers nowadays are spoon-fed babies and can't handle a real man's game. And to those of you, I say, fuck you. Needless to say, I walked into the room and immediately walked out without a second thought, which is where Lucas comes in. He's a bit like Toodles from the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. Lucas is a Resident Evil pro. He's played almost every game in the series, and he's a huge fan of the franchise. And so I employed him to follow me on my journey through each game, like a little guardian angel on my shoulder. And I genuinely believe that without his help, I would still be stuck on this game to this day. Either way, in retrospect, his reaction here is very funny to me. Yes, of course I'll take the ink ribbon. Oh my god, more herbs? Fuck yeah.
Oh my god, it's just hitting me. It's... No, it wasn't.
Don't spoil anything.
No, it was a gameplay thing. I'm sure you'll be fine.
The game only gets more disorientating from this point onwards. After I continue my hero's journey through the hellish maze that is these 3 train cars, I then encounter another glaring issue with the game. The door opening animations. For every single room you enter and every single flight of stairs you climb, you have to watch an 8-second long animation of either a door opening or a camera moving 1 step at a time up a flight of stairs. I know, the game is old. I know, back in the day they needed this time to load new areas or whatever, but holy shit is this painful. Because not only are you forced to watch an 8-second long animation every time you enter a new room, but because of how the game is built, not telling you where to go next and requiring backtracking, you are constantly going through multiple doorways and multiple staircases at a time, that you will spend more time in the door opening animation than in the actual time spent walking from door to door. This game is actually a fucking fever dream. How did anyone play this and go, oh yeah, this is fun, I enjoy this. I think I know why it's called Resident Evil 0, because 0 people bought this dog shit game. Every complaint I've had so far, just keep into account, even though I'm mentioning them at the start of my playthrough, it doesn't mean they go away. No. Every complaint I've mentioned, not being told where the objective is, the door animations, the inventory management, the gunplay, are all features of the game, meaning they are constant throughout the entire game. And, how long is this game's runtime, you might ask? Oh, it's only 10 hours. Anyway, let's get back to something a bit less terrible. What's going on with Rebecca in the story? So, after wandering around a bit, Rebecca runs into an encounter with Billy Cohen, the man who was being transported to his death in the wrecked cop car you saw earlier. But now, he's in the train with you, and he's got a gun to your head. Billy says some really not important dialogue and then walks away, to which Rebecca says, I could shoot ya, you know? Rebecca, this man literally had a gun to your skull not but 10 seconds ago. You are in no position to be threatening his life. Either way, they go their separate ways, but after a bit more wandering, you end up meeting again. Billy says something along the lines of, yo, woman, there's a bunch of evil residents on this train. Do you want to team up or something? And Rebecca's all like, no, I'd rather die than team up with you, loser. Girl boss, slay, that's Miss Chambers to you, and proceeds to leave Billy and go upstairs. To which she is immediately met with an evil resident who proves to be too much for her to handle. Holy shit. Uh-oh. But thankfully, Billy was nearby to do an epic combat dive and kill 2 leeches, which is so badass, it caused every other leech to just pack their things and go home.
What am I supposed to be?
Damn.
Oh my god.
That was badass.
Fuck up that leech.
I guess not all these residents truly are evil. And then
I'm gonna go to work
they
2
make
hours
it.
early because of that.
Oh, it's Jesus
Oh
again?
my god, it's
He's
Phantom
back?
of the Opera guy. He's the leech the
That's
whole
Leech
time.
Jesus.
Listen,
Black Dog,
we
Link
gotta
Sea,
cooperate with each other
Ivy.
from now on. You got that?
Yeah,
Let's
I'm not
see.
against that.
Well, I don't.
Clue in, girl. Or maybe you like being
Shut
worm
the
bait.
fuck up, Rebecca.
All right. But you just remember, I will shoot you if you try anything funny.
I'm out of ammo.
Now take these with you.
Shoot me with
Oh,
these.
never mind. Leech Jesus then makes his second appearance, using his booming vocals this time to start the fucking train. I shit you not, he just sings, hits Billy with a mean stare, and then boom! The train starts flying down the rails at Mach 10. I don't even know what's going on anymore. We are then introduced to, believe it or not, another terrible game mechanic, the shitty AI partner. So you know in LEGO Star Wars, when you don't have another person to play with you, so an AI just subs in and kind of follows you around, helps you fight things, and Auto does like the other half of each puzzle so you can get by. Yeah, this is nothing like that. The AI companion in this game is fucking awful. They're always getting in the way because for some reason you can't walk through them, and every section of this game is filled to the brim with tight corridors, so good luck moving through these hallways when you got a brick wall after image following your every move. The AI also doesn't really help you in a fight at all. It will sit there, watch you fight a zombie, and watch all of your ammo go to waste just to fire one bullet in its direction. It's as if they're built on a timer that they can only fire a bullet every 5 seconds, and so you're just sitting there, waiting for their brain to compute the action to help you, as you're being actively eaten alive. The 2 characters also have completely separate inventories, which you'd think would be good, because you get double the inventory space. But in reality, it becomes a terrible game of never having the right items on the right person, and constantly having to exchange and micromanage not 1, but 2 inventories. Also, the game has this really fun section where the 2 characters get separated and have to use this really fun mechanic where you're forced to use a dumbwaiter to send and receive items between the 2 characters, which is about the least simple process imaginable.
You gotta give him the ink ribbons. You...
Oh I got it.
He has to redo the transition every time.
Don't click it. Don't
What?
call the elevator.
What do you
called the item
mean?
back.
Why does it not just give it to him?
He has to go find where that other end
What
of the elevator
the
is.
fuck? First, you need to find the second dumbwaiter, which, depending on where your character is, will require you to walk through many doors, wasting numerous seconds of your life that you will never get back. Then, once you get to the dumbwaiter, you have to select the one item you want to send up or down. You can't send more than one item, and then you have to click the button to send it up the dumbwaiter. Now, you may think, okay, well now the second character would have the item, right? It just automatically gives it to them, right? Oh, you naive thinker. Of course that isn't how it works. You have to now manually switch to the second character, walk over to the second dumbwaiter, click on the item to put it into your inventory. Oh, do you want another item? Do you want to send another item to him? Well, guess what? This game, and I cannot stress it enough, is so incredibly painful to play through. It is not fun in any shape or form. It is genuinely probably the worst game I have ever played, and I refuse to accept any other takes. If you like this game, you are just wrong. I don't want to hear no ifs, no buts. You are just flat out wrong. But anyway, back to this wacky epic story. We're still stuck on this stupid fucking train. More wandering later. Excuse me. And one of your characters, either Rebecca or Billy, depending on your choice, ends up falling and getting stuck in a room with a locked door, and this is where that goddamn awful dumbwaiter mechanic comes into play, because you, as the other player who isn't stuck in that room, need to find an item that can help her get out. And so, once again, lots more wandering later, this leads you to your first boss fight.
Boss time.
Broken glass. Oh my god, it's a giant crab. Or scorpion. This boss fight, I don't know how this game keeps getting worse, might be the most boring boss I have ever seen in a game. Firstly, the boss is literally just a big scorpion. They deadass just took a scorpion, grabbed it at the corner, and pulled. He has nothing cool about him, no epic zombie limbs, or leech spitting capabilities, or laser eyes, or robotic stinger, nothing. Nothing cool. It is just a big scorpion. But this isn't even the worst part. The boss arena is one long hallway in which the scorpion just walks towards you and you shoot it before it can reach you. I think describing what this boss looks like wouldn't do it justice, so I'm just gonna show you some gameplay of me fighting it.
I think it was called like the Mercenary. That wasn't that great. It was like Wings Crossbow thing.
Sped up. After a lot more hellish walking, backtracking, and just overall sadness, I was finally able to free Rebecca and get to the front of the train, from which we were able to read a conveniently placed manual on how to stop said train.
Hey, the boys meet up again.
This plan involves one person staying in the first train car, while the other person runs to the back of the train with a key card and swipes it on a display, allowing the person in the first car to stop the train somehow. But my personal favorite part of this plan was that the fact that this key card is an actual item on the map that is not automatically given to the player. You have to interact with it and put it into your inventory before running all the way to the back of the train. Can you imagine what I did? Yeah, it's a miracle that I kept playing this game as long as I did.
Rebecca!
Huh?
Don't screw up, okay?
I won't.
Don't
I'll try.
fucking stop.
Idiot.
Oh, what the fuck? Okay, what now?
That thing in the, you see that red dot on the left? Walk up to it.
This?
Use the card.
What card? Yeah, so eventually you end up stopping the train, if blowing up the train is stopping it, and then after all that agonizing train ride, we're then introduced to a new environment, a big house, a residency, if you will. There's some lore given here, but it was honestly so terribly written and ridiculous, comboed with the fact that the game made me actively want to die, that I couldn't even pretend to care.
Marcus was murdered by Umbrella. You helped them, didn't you?
The story is fucking awful.
This is all an afterthought.
Now, in this new epic evil residency, the gameplay is sure to change up a little bit, right? Of course fucking not. It's arguably worse, because at least when I was wandering around aimlessly on a train, I could be like, man, trains are cool. But this house facility building is so incredibly boring and dull, the colors are washed, and the environments are just not interesting. The most interesting gameplay I found in this section was trying to stay awake. So on that note, here's some of the things that did occur during my time in this evil residency.
Made a JRPG.
What do you even know what you're shooting at?
It auto aims,
Don't.
so
Oh.
no, it'll hit the target.
Fair
Gunplay
enough.
is real intuitive in this game. You gotta
That
move.
guy
You're
standing up.
just shooting through the... I'm not sure about that one. Yeah, is that the ending? You just get to cruise.
Okay, that's
Fucking
awesome.
block
I
your
love that.
exit.
He's not moving.
Dude, bro is just munching. What are you mad about? No, it's sick though. You know, if that chick was wearing anything but jean shorts, she could probably fit more stuff in her pockets. You know, I was thinking about it, like, if people wanted to speedrun this game, I feel like half the run would just be watching these animations.
You can beat the game in under like 3 hours.
That's
Pretty
not
sure
much of a
it's like an
speedrun at that
achievement.
point.
What the fuck is that noise? Oh my god.
Oh my.
So
word.
realistically, what is the point of that elevator if you can't get up it with one person?
Yeah.
And right here is where I finally broke. During this section of the game, you are pitted against your second boss fight. This time it's a giant centipede. Wow, they're creative. You know, even though I'm about to rip this fight to shreds, at least this one has an actual arena. So that's something. Anyway, fuck this boss. Remember earlier when I foreshadowed that the game would definitely not softlock to you with enough ammo for an area or whatever? Well, this is exactly what I'm referring to. I shit you not. I tried everything. Literally everything I could possibly get in my arsenal, I got. And used it to fight this thing. To no avail. 5 fucking attempts. 5 full backtracking from last save point attempts. Each time getting more and more weaponry, as much as I could possibly find, min-maxing the fight as much as I could. On my first attempt, I had 0 ammo in my pistol, but was informed of a grenade launcher in a nearby room. After using it on the boss, it still refused to die, and so I've soft-locked and forced to restart. On attempt 2, I returned with 1 extra shotgun shell and a pistol with full ammo, on top of the grenade launcher from before. This too, to no avail. I even attempted putting on drip to try and kill the centipede with sheer intimidation. To no avail. On attempt 3, I learned of a secret shotgun shell ammo box that was located in a spot that was nearly impossible to reach because they put an interactable painting behind it. I genuinely don't think anyone playtested this game. But after getting this ammo, I now had the maximum amount of ammo I could possibly get my hands on in this area. 7 shotgun shells, 5 grenade launcher shots, and 15 pistol bullets. And I tried my absolute hardest to beat this boss, putting in multiple attempts to make sure every single one of the bullets landed. And still, I could not manage to beat it. I got soft-locked out of the game because I didn't save enough ammo in the earlier stages. I put myself through all of this dog shit in this game. All of it. Pushing through, just so I could say I beat it. But this game is so incredibly bad that it wouldn't even let me beat it. And for those of you wondering, this isn't just an issue I encountered. After one quick YouTube search, I learned that this is a problem for literally everyone. I even saw one guy say he restarted the entire game just to save enough ammo for this boss. And at that point, I accepted it as a blessing. After this mentally scarring experience, I decided that if any of the other games were even this bad, I would just drop them, for my own mental well-being. I'd like to reference these games as my vetoes. I only ended up vetoing 3 games throughout my entire 11 game playthrough, and I played each vetoed game for a minimum of 90 minutes at least. So, with Resident Evil 0 being my first veto, that only leaves 2 left. So I'll leave you to guess which games those are. I know some of you may be upset with the fact that I technically didn't beat every game, and to those of you who say that, go play Resident Evil 0. Then get back to me. There are a lot of things you can talk about when referencing Resident Evil 0, almost entirely of which are bad. And even though I didn't fully finish the game, or even remotely enjoy it, I'd still like to give it the rewards that it qualifies for. I will not, though, be filling out a bingo board. I will reserve the bingo boards only for the games I completed in full, so that the comparison later isn't skewed. Anyways, on to our awards. And for our first award, the award for Best Written Dialogue has to go to Rebecca's awesome line towards Billy on the stairs. The cadence at which this line is delivered, comboed with the fact that Billy gives absolutely zero reaction, has left an imprint on my brain and is probably now the only thing I think of when I hear Rebecca's name spoken.
Hey, Miss Do-It-Yourself, what should I call you?
The name
Young
is
Bull.
Rebecca Chambers, but that's Officer Chambers to you.
And for our second award, the Worst Boss Award, goes to... You think it would be obvious, but honestly, I think it's a tie. Of the 2 bosses I fought, one of them made me want to fall asleep, but was at least winnable, while the other one was actually impossible to beat, but at least had some gameplay to it. So all in all, I'd say both the Centipede and the Scorpion are both equally awarding of the title of Worst Boss. And for our Most Badass Moment Award, this has to go to Billy's epic stunt where he did this action hero dive to shoot 2 leeches. I know your pants were already soaked from watching this clip earlier, so let's just move on. The Worst Puzzle and Best Boss Awards are being cut entirely, as the only puzzle I can remember is the one where you do math to stop the train, which wasn't actually that bad, all things considered, and as we established earlier, there were no good bosses. So, there will be no rewards in these categories for Resident Evil 0. And our final award for Best Theme has to go to the Centipede Boss Theme. As much as I absolutely despise the boss fight and could talk for ages about how terrible it is, at least the music was kind of bumping. And finally, let's pull up our Resident Evil tier list. Alright, for our character tier list, the only 4 characters I can really remember even appearing were Rebecca, Billy, Wesker, and Leech Jesus. We'll start with Leech Jesus. Definitely gotta be a D tier for me for now. The whole Leech thing, he's kind of awkward and like not a good character and makes no sense, and I really hated it. But also, it's kind of funny, and he kind of looked like Sephiroth in some scenes, so I'll give him a D tier for that. Wesker, in this game, we basically see him for nothing. I know Wesker later on, guys, you're gonna hate me for this ranking for now. We'll adjust it later when we get, any more info on the characters. Everything can be adjusted. But for now, I would probably put Wesker from this game at about like a C, because he really doesn't do anything. He's on like 2 cutscenes. Billy, he's Billy. He doesn't really do much. He's also not like that crazy of a character. It's not like I got to see any real character arcs, because I was mostly just, wanting to die the entire time. But I would say his character's also probably about a C. Maybe like a B, but, he's right in that line. And our final character, Rebecca, who, you can respect Rebecca. You're kind of like, she's cute. She's got some funny lines here and there. So, like, for that, I would probably put Rebecca at about B tier. And this is going to be what my character rankings are for Resident Evil 0. Now, let's get on to the game. No shocker here, we're going to put that straight into D tier. Now, I've labeled the D tier as DNF for did not finish. It means that the game was so bad that I did not finish it. Like I said, only 3 vetoes happened, so there will be 3 games that are placed into this tier, and everything else will go from S, A, B, and C. And so yeah, that's about it. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like, subscribe, become a member if you'd like. It supports me, and I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one for Resident Evil 1.